And good Tuesday morning. Welcome to episode 45 of the Inside Drive podcast. I guess you could call him a regular now here on the Inside Drive podcast, but it's my good friend. He's a former MLB pitcher and owner of Chapman Wealth Management, Jay Chapman.
Hey.
Jay, thanks for coming on again. I appreciate it very, very much. We're going to talk a little bit about of course, the tragic passing of our good friend Terrance Gore. We'll also have Steve Alexander, who is a weekly radio guest for me when I was doing the radio. He's an NBA Fantasy Hall of Fame writer. He's going to join us earlier in the podcast today at 11:15. But first, we got to talk about some of our sponsors. I don't have any with me today, but I had one of their ginger shots earlier today, and that is Juice and Sunsets. Most people aren't getting the vitamins, their vitamins and nutrients their bodies need from everyday foods alone. Busy schedules, processed meals, and depleted soils make it harder than ever to fuel your bodies properly. When your body is unnourished, it can't perform at its best. Energy drops, immunity weakens, and inflammation creeps in. That's where Juice and Sunsets comes in. Fresh, nutrient-dense juices are simple, powerful ways to bridge that gap. They deliver essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants in a form your body can easily absorb, helping you feel better, think clearer, and making healthier choices one sip at a time. Speaking of one sip at a time, already air's just been so dry, but now it's finally a little more humid. But you can visit Juice and Sunsets on Facebook. They got lots of great information. Or you can head over to juiceandsunsets.com. You can place an order for pickup or delivery. Great business, great for your body. Appreciate them being the official juice sponsor here of the Inside Drive. And of course, Golf Plus, looking to elevate your golf game with custom fitted clubs and pro-level gear. Step into Golf Plus, a golf retail and fitting destination with roots stretching all the way back to its founding in Dothan, Alabama back in 1988. At Golf Plus, the focus is simple: get you fitted right. They use industry-leading technology like the Foresight Game Changer 2 launch monitors in not one but two simulators, and advanced shaft mastering systems that dial in the perfect club for your swing, whether it's a full new set or a retrofit of your current clubs. But it's more than just clubs. Golf Plus is a full-service shop, from expert grip work and loft and lie adjustments to quality repairs and curated selections of top brands. You'll find everything you need to play your best. And now, with its renovated shop in Panama City Beach, golfers visiting the Gulf Coast and locals alike can enjoy a premium fitting experience and apparel right next to the sandy beaches. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned player, Golf Plus delivers personalized service, cutting-edge technology, and the gear you can trust. Book your custom fitting or stop by today, because the right equipment can make all the difference out on the course. They're located in the shops at Edgewater next to Firefly. Jay, real quick, tell us a little bit about Chapman Wealth Management while I get my my throat under control here.
Yeah, Chapman Wealth Management, you're partnering with Raymond James. We're right off of Jinx Avenue on Huntcliffe, a little side street called Huntcliffe. And really kind of what it is that we're aiming to do is just really be a partner with people sort of as they traverse the financial landscape, of their lives, right? Whether that be, investment questions or budgetary type stuff. We're just there to kind of guide people through a lot of these processes and meet with their personal CPAs or estate attorneys just to get a consolidated picture of what it is, they would need kind of moving through all phases of their financial life.
Absolutely. And what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
The best way to get in contact for us would be to call us at 850-867-8247, or you could kind of search us up on, we have a webpage, raymondjames.com/Chapman Wealth Management.
There you go. There you go. Before we dive into other stuff, I did want to take some time today. Obviously, many people here locally know that, unfortunately, Terrance Gore tragically passed away during a routine procedure. I believe it was back this Saturday, if I'm not, or last Friday. So I had wanted to have you on. Obviously, you know Terrance pretty well, being in the baseball world, and then also put some stuff out on social media this morning, asking for some personal thoughts and things that about Terrance that maybe had touched them there in the community. Real quick before I ask you that, Jay, I do want to mention kind of his career and his highlights. He made his Major League Baseball debut on August 31st, 2014 with the Kansas City Royals. His final MLB appearance was October 5th, 2022 with the New York Mets. His primary role, as many people know, he was an outfielder, but he was a pinch running specialist, widely regarded as one of the fastest players in baseball during his career. He was known for his elite base stealing ability, late game contributions as a pinch runner, and defensive versatility out there in the outfield. He was a 3-time World Series champion. His first championship was with the Kansas City Royals back in 2015, the team that drafted him. Then in 2020, he earned a ring with the Los Angeles Dodgers during their title run. And then, of course, he was part of the Atlanta Braves in 2021 when they won their World Series, their first World Series in a long time, but now they are trying to get back there. Some of his specific postseason contributions, although he was rarely used at the plate, he got multiple playoff games where he appeared and contributed, stealing some bases in some crucial times there. His speed was a tactical weapon in late innings, especially in tight games where stolen bases and run scoring were crucial. In his MLB career, he stole 43 bases on 52 attempts and scored numerous runs largely as a pinch runner, known for being able to change the momentum in a game by simply entering as a late inning runner. Gore carved out a unique niche as a specialized bench player, proving that a great major league career doesn't have to require traditional hitting prowess when other skills are elite. His career became ever popular example of how speed and situational roles can create value at the highest level of baseball. His career may not have featured the most conventional star statistics, but his impact through speed, base running, and being part of multiple championship teams made him a standout figure and one of the most beloved players in baseball history. Jay, obviously a sad moment, and we're all praying for his family, but what are some of the things that you can remember about Terrance and how he may have touched your baseball career or just your life in general?
Shoot, man, ain't gonna get me choked up. I just thinking about it here. Man, I was first introduced to Gore when I was playing, and I think I was already in the big leagues actually, and he was out at Gulf Coast as a player. And Coach Candler, I just remember Coach Candler telling me, he said, "Man, you look at this kid over here." He said, "He might be the fastest guy in the country," and he wasn't kidding. But one of my, I have a ton of favorite memories, and one of the interesting parts is you kind of forget when you're in baseball, especially as long as I was, how small the community is.
Yep.
But I have had, obviously because he was here, and, coincidentally enough, and I think I told you via text, I actually ran into him at an ice cream shop. He had his daughter, I had my daughter, and we were kind of just not really, we didn't plan to meet there and eat ice cream together, but we kind of ended up doing that just a few days ago. And gosh, it just really puts in perspective, that you never know.
Yeah, and how fragile life is for sure.
But one of the things I wanted to say was I remember one of his more famous moments was he scored from second in like I don't know if it was an NLCS or NLDS game. I'm sorry, ALDS or ALCS game, but he was on second, and I can't remember who it was, hit a high chopper off the dirt, in front of home plate. The third baseman ran to kind of do like the ball never left the infield, and he scored from second.
That's insane.
It was unbelievable. And I did want to say this too really quickly. I know nobody really cares too much probably about this, but those caught stealing numbers and stuff, some of those are pickoffs. Like people that, he's 43 for 52, but he might have got picked off 5 or 6 times. Actually thrown out at second, it was like incredibly rare. He almost never got. And can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember being in AAA after my surgeries and kind of trying to come back, and we were playing, the Omaha Storm Chasers. And of course, I hadn't, known Terrance since, his days at Gulf Coast.
Yep.
And depending upon the jersey that you wear, sometimes they can be a little bit like your jersey that you're wearing now, like the USA. Yeah, just big, right? And we were kind of going to the bullpen, and I remember one of the guys looking over and going, "Well, that's not." He's kind of. It's a bullpen. You got to take that into consideration, right? It's a bullpen. It's a bunch of dudes that are probably not quite right in the head. But he looks over and goes, "Well, I think that's awesome that they're letting a middle schooler play right field today." And it was Terrance, and I said, "Let me tell you something. It's all fun and games." I said, if you face him, I said, don't walk him and don't let him, bunt for a hit or get a hit. I said, if he gets on first, within 3 pitches, he'll be on third. And they're like, really? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's the fastest guy. And they really were like, really? I'm like, just wait till you see this guy run.
I wish I would have saw him run. I need to look up some YouTube
It's
videos.
Unbelievable. He floats. I mean, it was really truly something to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was.
That's incredible.
And another thing that's crazy that a lot of people don't, because you equate a lot of times speed with power output and all that stuff. You should have seen him jump. I mean, he was a generous 5'7". I mean, he's a very short guy. And I saw him 360, like Spud Webb style dunk basketballs.
Wow.
I mean, there was, in the last story, I remember seeing this and going, who is this guy? I was at a Gulf Coast just watching a game, just kind of out there. Had done my throwing. They were playing a game. I would sit in the dugout sometimes, talk to Candler during the games, and this before I would leave for spring training.
Yep.
And there's about a chest high rail, in the dugout at Gulf Coast that people would lean on. Threw it out in the inning. The Gulf Coast is hitting. They're about to go out in the field. Terrance just jumps over the railing. And I was like, oh my God. Like it's not, I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
It's chest high.
Yeah.
He just jumps over,
Without
runs
using
up,
his hands.
runs the center field.
That's insane.
And I was like, this guy,
He's
it's
just a
just
freak
springs in his legs,
Yeah.
man. It's crazy to see. But
that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing those
of course.
stories. We appreciate that. A couple other people shared some stuff on Facebook as well. Camden Cartwright, he posted a picture. They had at the Cat 5 training facility, they had a big prayer for Brittany and Zane. There was over 150 people showed up for that. Pretty impressive stuff there. He also said he was just a humble dude, nothing but love for the youth and growing and developing them. His time at Cat 5 was free. He never made a dime. His coaching the Hurricanes was free. Never made a dime off of that organization. He would do anything and everything to help everyone that's needed. Just sounds like just an awesome human being there. Good stuff from Camden. We appreciate it. And then Dusty Schroer, he said, to know Terrance was to love him. What an absolute genuine human being who cared not only about the kids he coached, but the kids on the team he coached against. The kids on my team who knew Coach Terrance, and he knew them. He became one of my closest coach friends in this crazy world of youth sports, and he always rooted for me and our boys. We stopped practice Sunday to pay our respects to this larger-than-life individual who will be deeply missed by so many. He was everything that's right with youth sports. Heroes get remembered, legends never die. I believe that was a quote from
The Sandlot.
The Sandlot, yeah.
And real quick, I was going to say this, just a quick interjection is that's what I was saying about how small the baseball community was, because he lived here and we took it for granted, because I would go to Cat 5 and I'd see him all over the place. But I had a ton of people reach out to me that I mutually played with who also mutually played with Terrance in different times in their career. And they just couldn't believe.
Well, and I know you're not on social media, but if you were on social media over the weekend on Facebook especially, you saw like the Major League Baseball channels, all these different baseball pages, the Royals, the Braves, the Mets, everybody was posting about how shocked they were that he passed away, just how awesome of a human being he was. So it seems, and that's really all, walking through life, if you're known as being just a great human being, I don't know there's much more that you can achieve beyond that. Obviously, he achieved a lot on the baseball diamond as well. And from Jamal Smith, who everybody knows Jamal, he's a local photographer around here. He said, Terrance was a beautiful human who would help any kid who wants to pursue a goal, simply not only baseball, but off the field too. He truly will be missed, and I look up to him. He said he was a great kid, man. So a lot of great stuff coming in about the legend, Terrance Gore. Obviously, we'll be praying for him, his family, everybody, who was involved with and who Terrance touched in their life, because it seems like it was certainly a lot of people. But again, rest in peace to the great Terrance Gore. And again, we'll be praying for him, his family, Zane, all his kids, obviously taken too soon. And as you said, kind of right before we jumped on the show, or right before we started talking about it, you just never really know, when your time is up, whatever it may be. So make every day count. We've been saying that now for a while. And just treat people with respect and just be nice to other people. If everybody would just be nice every day instead of trying to prove themselves to be better, to argue. The human race right now just seems to be all about arguing with other people. Just be nice, be kind. You can disagree with somebody and still be friends with them. It's just crazy everything going on right now. So just let's do it for Terrance. He would have wanted everybody to continue to be nice, to stop arguing, to stop fighting, all that particular stuff. So we're going to take a real quick break. I'm going to get Steve Alexander on the line on that quick break. We're going to talk a little bit about some NBA basketball, something that we haven't done in a while. I've been trying to get Steve on the line for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Steve Alexander, better known as Doc A. And welcome back, episode 45 of the Inside Drive on this nicer and a little bit more warm Tuesday morning. Excited to have my good friend Steve Alexander, but better known as Doc A. You can follow him on Twitter/X, Doctora, Docktora. He is a NBA Fantasy Hall of Fame writer. Doc, how are you doing today?
Ryan, I'm dealing with a bit of a tragic news. We got word late last night that Johnny B's, my spot, my Golden Tee bar that I play at,
say it ain't so.
closing at the end of February for good.
Oh no, that is
I'm gonna
not
have to
good.
move.
Yeah,
I'm
you're gonna
moving.
have to-
I'm moving to Panama City.
There you go. We got plenty of places with golden tea down here, so you can continue your golden tea excellence.
Do you have any dive bars down there?
We have so many dive bars. Like, you would be in your element down here. And like,
The
I've
dive
always,
bars are gone here. They're all gone. This
Oh,
was the
no.
last one.
that's sad, but you still got so much great stuff up there. I don't know how to pronounce the city you live in, but I know a lot of people probably from down here have been up there before as well.
Up here in Dahlonega, Georgia. Oh, the new Netflix show.
I saw that. I haven't seen it.
Hers is set in Dahlonega, Georgia.
That's right. That is right. Exciting stuff. Doc, real quick, for those who didn't follow my radio show and never heard you on Tuesdays, which was one of my favorite segments that I did during the week, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you came from, where you are now, and then, of course, what you currently do.
Well, Tuesdays on your show were one of my favorite things as well. We did it for years. We became good friends. And I miss you, dude. So I started off at this little tiny website called Roto World, which was independent. And I think it was about 1999 or 2000. I begged the guy that ran that site for a job, and he let me start writing the NBA basketball fantasy blurbs, little news nuggets on Tuesday nights. And I stuck with that, worked for free for them for a while. They got bigger and bigger and bigger as fantasy football started to explode. And fantasy basketball and baseball kind of went with it. And eventually quit my job in Indianapolis, my real job, so I could work for Roto World full time. And then we sold all of our stuff and moved to the middle of nowhere in Dahlonega, Georgia. And right around that same time, NBC Sports swooped in and bought Roto World for a lot of money. And so then I became an employee of NBC Universal, and I was kind of back in corporate world, but I was able to work from home, so I didn't have to deal with all of the corporate stuff that I don't necessarily enjoy. And then because I got in on the bottom floor and so early, and Roto World had such an incredible reputation, I sort of was looked at as the fantasy basketball guru. I was like the Matthew Berry of basketball, I guess. And Rick Camlin was another one. He's been a partner in crime with me for a long time. But so yeah, I got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I think I was class of 2025 and maybe 24. I'm not really sure. Oh, it was 23. 2023 Hall of Fame.
It was right when we first started coming on my radio show. I remember that.
And it's one of the greatest honors of my life. And people are like, well, where is this Hall of Fame? I'm not sure there's an actual building, but I think there's like 43 people in this Fantasy Sports Writers Hall of Fame. And I'm one of them, and it's a huge honor.
Pretty impressive stuff. Obviously, you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing. You've been doing the fantasy basketball stuff since basically fantasy sports were just on paper, newspapers, and all that particular stuff. We'll jump right in.
Yeah, my boss at that job I talked about back in the day, in like the year 2000. Like, I was running our fantasy golf league. I was running like 2 football leagues, 2 baseball leagues, a home run derby, PGA league, like all this stuff. And there were always managers, and the guy that ran the entire organization would always be at my desk giving me his picks. And the people that worked under me, I was a manager, they told my boss that he's always at his desk talking about fantasy sports, and he doesn't really do anything. And so she called me into her office, and she's like, Steve, I've heard a lot about fantasy sports and you lately, and I don't know what fantasy sports are, and I don't want to know, but you need to stop talking about them. And I was like, okay, well, your boss is at my desk every day talking to me about them, so you need to talk to him too. She's like, I will. And now, of course, she's a huge fantasy football fan. Of course, so yeah, whatever.
Absolutely, just like everybody else in the United States of America.
Right. Real
quick, Doc, I know the Luka trade last year broke when you were, I think you were either on the show that day or it was either the day after, so it was a hot topic. Obviously, what are your thoughts now on the continued fallout? Technically, AD is just traded. Are they shutting him down for the rest of the season too?
Supposedly. I mean, I don't know why he would play a game for Washington. So yeah, I would hope him and Trae Young are both done for the year.
Well, obviously, that Anthony Davis trade was massive. A lot of teams, a lot of picks, a lot of players involved. When this Luka trade went down, you famously said this is one of the worst trades in NBA history. I feel like it's only gotten worse now, but I bring that up to say Mark Cuban obviously sold the Mavs back in 2023. He got edged out of the governor position and watched Luka Doncic get traded. Apparently, he's got some regret now because, according to Mark Steen, he could be a part of a group looking to buy back the Mavs. An unidentified Dallas investor group wants to work with Cuban to do so. Cuban has declined to comment on this, but the 2003 transition has not gone as he's hoped. So what just kind of sum up this whole trade and where we're at now and the fallout from these crazy moves that have happened in the NBA the last couple of years?
Well, the Mavericks essentially traded Luka Doncic for no picks and Anthony Davis and it's like a bag of Doritos, right? And then they trade Anthony Davis for no picks and a bunch like Chris Middleton, who's like 40 years old. He's not really 40, but he's old and he's washed up. They basically traded Luka Doncic for absolutely nothing. And it's hard to believe, even that Utah trade for Jaren Jackson Jr., they threw in 3 number 1 picks. So the fact that Dallas did not get anything, like nothing back, literally, for Luka Doncic it sets them back, a million years. And there's talk that the organization in Dallas wants to buy it, but there's also talk that they're trying to move and they want to go to Las Vegas. And, the NBA is going to expand and add, it sounds like they're going to vote on adding 2 more teams. And Seattle and Vegas are the 2 locations getting the most hype there. So is Dallas going to move to Vegas and then Dallas is going to get awarded a team? I don't know, man, but I don't know how you come back from this. The only saving grace is the NBA possibly gave them the number 1 pick so they can take Cooper Flag.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that. That was very suspicious.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that was very suspicious at the time. I remember we talked about that in the past. So crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how you come back from it. And it's a lot of people don't like NBA basketball anyway. And doing a trade like that and having nothing to show for it, and now you're just trying to get another draft pick. It's just sad, and it's not good for the game.
Yep. Obviously, we're approaching the All-Star break in the NBA season. Who are some of the teams that have separated themselves from the top of each conference?
Well, the Detroit Pistons were sort of last year's darling team in the East, team that wasn't expected to do very well, but did very well. And now they're 5.5 games up on the Knicks and the Celtics in the East. And, man, there's no drama there. You don't hear about very often. Now, they did get in a big fight last night.
I saw that. I was going to ask you about that.
I got a massive brawl, so I guess I spoke too soon about no drama there. But internally, the coach is good. The team is good. Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren have taken things to another level. Ausar Thompson's really good. The Pistons are just a really, really fit, sound team. And then the Knicks and Celtics are both right there behind them, along with the Cavaliers, who were the best team in the East last year. And now Jason Tatum is talking about coming back for the Celtics in the next few weeks, and that would give them a boost. So the East is pretty fun and wide open. And then the Sixers are still hanging around. And somehow, I don't know how, but Joel Embiid has made it through this entire season in one piece so far. So that's what's happening in the East. Over in the West, the Thunder were running away But an injury and a weird season for Jalen Williams has kind of slowed their roll. SGA left a couple games ago and won't play till after the All-Star break. So there's a chink in their armor, and the San Antonio Spurs and Denver Nuggets are right behind them. The Houston Rockets and Lakers are also very good. So pretty competitive in both on both sides of the league.
Should sound like make a good competition down the stretch. All right, we're going to completely pivot off of NBA, Doc. Quick update on the gold medal match, the mixed doubles curling. In the first end, the United States got a point. Second end, Sweden got 2 points. So it's currently 2-1 Sweden as we're in the third end. The good news is the USA's got the hammer in the third end, so hopefully they can either get it tied up or back. What are your thoughts on this mixed doubles curling so far, Doc? It's been fantastic to watch.
Dude, I'm a big Olympic curling fan. I'm not an expert. I don't know the guys. I don't know every single strategy, but I love watching curling because it's something anyone could do, and it's it's intense, man. You saw that shot yesterday. That dude hit three.
Yep.
I can't remember what they're called. Stones
Yep.
with one shot, and to basically win the match. And then, I was watching Italy earlier this morning, and that girl that was throwing for them is really good. And,
yep. Italy kind of
USA
gave
match
us some
should be great.
opportunities in that semifinal match, making a few mistakes. Kind of like reminds me of golf down the stretch a little bit. You can either win it or you can lose it, and I feel like curling's a combination of both of those. With all that being said, which Olympics do you prefer? I know basketball is in the Summer Olympics, but do you prefer one Olympics over the other, winter or summer?
Not really, but I think historically, like when I was a kid, for some reason I liked the Winter Games a little bit better. And that may be because of Team USA and the Miracle on Ice, because I was around for that, and just bobsled and luge and all the danger factor.
Yes. Not as much danger in the Summer
jumping
Olympics.
off mountains and stuff. So I've always kind of leaned towards winter.
Jay, what about you? Do you have an Olympics that you prefer? And Doc, this is not Jay Henley. I know you probably.
Oh,
no.
I was about to get fired up for a second.
Everybody loves Jay.
Hey, Doc. No, I'm a different Jay. I'm kind of in the same boat. I like the Winter Olympics as well. Just always kind of grew up watching it, and it's so different from where we're at, in the climate that we typically are in down here. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but always sort of gravitated towards the Winter Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
You, Doc, you said you were alive back in 1980 when the miracle happened. Have you seen the documentary on Netflix, the new one, The Miracle, The Boys of 1980?
I have.
How good is that, Doc? Whew.
It's great, man. It's
Yeah.
great. And I don't think I really realized like how much people didn't like Herb Brooks.
Yeah.
and the team, like nobody liked him. And it was such a wild time. Like we were in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on vacation when that happened. We were walking back to our hotel from the beach, and some dude had like a jam box on his shoulder and listening to the game, and it ended, and everybody was in the street and people were hugging each other. It's just crazy to think about everybody being so involved in that moment.
Well, and how important that moment was for a country that was reeling at the time with, inflation, gas prices, interest rates, all that stuff. It was just a tough time for the United States of America. So to have like kind of the whole, and the guys, I love how the documentary talks about how the guys didn't even realize, they thought it was their parents, their friends that were watching it. They didn't realize that literally the whole country was on the back of that team. So just a special moment in time for the history of our country. And if anybody has Netflix, I know I've said it already, but I highly recommend you see that documentary, especially prior to Thursday when USA Men's gets their Olympic campaign underway. Obviously, a little bit different now. It's all professionals. Back then, it was all amateur hockey players, all college hockey players at that time. So a little different time, a little bit exciting. If you don't know the story, shame on you, because you should know that story. It's such a big moment in our history, not only in sports but also in politics and international, whatever you want to call that, international.
Yeah, it was wild
with Russia. Doc, real quick before we let you go, how can everybody find your information, and what shows and programs are you on?
The easiest way to do it is follow me on Twitter. Again, it's Doctora, Docktora, on Twitter. Our website is called Sports Ethos, ETHOS.com. And me and Aaron Bruschi, who worked with me, I hired him at Roto World back in the day. Like, the two of us are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and also on Saturday, hammering these things out, podcasts every day. So if you like basketball,
it's a must.
You should go check it out.
Absolutely. And then, Doc, I was going to ask you one more thing, and then, of course, or I was just going to say, let's do this again sometime soon. I bumped Keith for you today. I told him you're getting bumped by a Hall of Fame writer, so don't be upset.
Yeah, man, we got to talk some Buckies next time.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I know you've got to get to your podcast here in just a little bit. So, again, I appreciate you making some time for us this morning.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, and have a great day.
You too. Take care.
See you guys later.
Thanks.
Bye. He's got some really awesome stories. When he was growing up, he was just a big NBA kid. So he'd always be at the arenas or the hotels where the players were staying, and he'd get shoes, and he's got such this huge, massive collection of shoes from big time NBA players over the years. I don't know if you ever got one from Jordan, but Bird, all those guys. He's got some crazy stories. Always love talking to him, but we can go forever with him. So I wanted to make sure we got going here real quick. We got him off the line. Don't need to take a break. I think we'll just kind of hammer out the rest of the show here, Jay, if that works for you. I do want to talk about our American Charlie Athlete of the Week. That went to Chase Reed. He's a North Bay Haven Bucks soccer player. He's now accomplished 50 career goals and 50 career assists. He's the leading scorer in North Bay Haven Bucks boys soccer history. Wow. So congratulations to Chase Reed. He'll be getting a $50 gift card there from American Charlie's. Everybody who knows American Charlie is located over there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza, a true American favorite. You can check them out. They have all your great daily specials. They also got private rooms for parties, 15 TVs for all your sporting events. I know they probably have the Olympic curling match on there right now, if I'm not mistaken. The military and first responder discounts, all your American favorites, fried chicken, pot roast specials, wings, burgers, shrimp, all those American classics. Can't make it into the restaurant? You can now order off DoorDash. They're also making Mondays and every day great again with their happy hour from 2 to 6 p.m. Great drink specials. And, of course, they've launched their Early Eagle menu from 4 to 6 p.m. daily. All entrees are just $14. That is a protein and 2 sides. You're not going to be able to beat that. For more details, just search American Charlie's Grill and Tavern on Facebook or head over to AmericanCharlies.com. And then, of course, real quick, Panhandle Credit Union. They're all about the quality relationships, whether it's donating to a community event, sponsoring your child's sports team. They're here in the community to help us out. Check out their great banking products, loans, savings, and checking accounts, mortgages, whatever your financial needs are, Panhandle Credit Union can handle it. Visit any branch location or head online to panhandlecu.org. All right, now I got to catch everybody up on all of our local sports action, kind of moving into the state competitions are going on for boys and girls soccer. We did have a couple teams that were eliminated and a couple teams that moved on. So we'll start with I believe this is the 3A tournament for boys state soccer. North Bay Haven in their opening round had an 8-0 victory over Fernandina Beach. They play now tonight over at Public Sports Complex right there on that field. I believe they call it the P. Edwards Field, which used to be that field over there, kind of tucked behind everything. That's going to be at 6 p.m. tonight. They are taking on the 5-seed Pensacola Catholic. Pensacola Catholic beat Bowles 2-1 in their regional quarterfinal. So big game for North Bay Haven. I think that was their first state playoff victory. So they have an opportunity to make it 2 and advance to the region final. They are the number 1 seed. So if they were to advance to that region final, they would be the host of that. On the girls' side of the soccer state championship tournament, the 5A tournament, Mosley's great soccer season has come to an end. They lost to Gulf Breeze 3-1 on Thursday. So Gulf Breeze moves on to play Ponte Vedra, which Ponte Vedra is one of the best teams in the country on the girls' side. So it'll be a tough task there for the Gulf Breeze, but a great season for the Mosley Dolphins girls soccer team. The reason I always highlight them is several of the kids that were on our UA soccer team last year went on to play varsity as freshmen for Mosley. And I feel like their future is very bright over there for Mosley girls soccer. Those girls are only going to get better. They're going to bring in some even better freshmen coming in this year. So Mosley soccer getting to be one of the local powerhouses here in Bay County. And then on the 5A tournament, Arnold Marlins, who we had Coach Jonah on last Thursday, suffered a tough 4-0 loss to that one. Kind of surprising, but there were some things that kind of went on during that game that were a little bit out, a little bit wild, whether it was officiating or just some bad stuff that happened. I was at that game. The officiating was not great. I do want to kind of touch on what Coach Jonah said in response to me posting about the not so great officiating. And I'm not trying to attack the officials, but if you were there, you realize how egregious these things were. One of the big things was the second goal. The first goal that Booker T scored was nothing had happened really yet. There was a kid earlier in the game that got a yellow card and then said the F word and did not get a red card, which I'll reference back to that here in a second. But the second goal Booker T scored was on an indirect kick. And per the FHSAA NFHS rules, on an indirect kick, the ball must be stationary for an indirect kick. But once kicked, it must clearly move to be in play. Basically, if we were standing next to each other and I was going to eventually take the kick, you'd have to at least kick it so it moved. Simply tapping or touching the ball is not enough, and the kicker cannot touch the ball again until another player touches it. So what Booker T did is it was just inside the box because of the type of foul it was. And the one kid just tapped it on top, and then the next kid kicked it, and they scored a goal on that play. So against the rules. And then some of the other highlights, not highlights, but things that happened in the game, that should have never happened. They should have received a red card in the first half when a player dropped the F-bomb. He was only given a yellow. The double yellow that got called on Arnold was not I didn't agree with this one either. It just looked like the other kid dove when the kid got close to him. It was a dive. They had a player on a yellow who also stopped a promising attack, basically like one of the Arnold guys was going to be taken off the field, and the guy tripped him up. That should have been the second yellow that was given, and that would have been a red card. And then one of the other players on Arnold for making a slide tackle, it was kind of a 50-50 ball, got a red card immediately. That one probably should have been a yellow at best. So when the two red cards happened, they were down 2 men, and 9 versus 11 is not a winnable equation. You just can't. Not in soccer. You cannot compete with 2 men down, let alone 1 man down. But saying all that, what Jonah said, our team did not play up to their ability in that game. Coupled with the officiating, it was just not meant to be. Obviously, they were going for the three-peat there in the 5A. I think their first one was a 4A, but in the 5A, they were trying to go back-to-back, but it would have been 3 consecutive state championships for the Arnold Marlins boys soccer team. Doesn't take anything away from the season. Obviously, just a tough way to end your season, especially for the seniors that have been there for several of these I keep saying national. They won 1 national championship. And then real quick on the basketball side of things, just some district winners. The Rural Class District 4 was won by Crossroad Academy. The reason I mention that is because they played Port St. Joe in that district championship, and up until that game, Port St. Joe had not lost a basketball game for the season on the boys' side. So that was the Rural Class District 4 championship. I don't even know where Crossroad Academy is. On the boys' 5A District 1 championship, Booker T. Washington beat Mosley 65-52 in the championship game. So Booker T. gets a district championship in boys basketball there, 5A. 3A District 1. The Walton Braves ended up winning that one over Pensacola Catholic. It had North Bay Haven in Rutherford in the district tournament to start, but they both got eliminated there. And then the boys District 4 or just 4A District 1 tournament was won by the Fort Walton Beach Vikings. They beat Pensacola in that championship game. And then the girls 2A District 1 tournament was won by the Destin Sharks. They beat Rocky Christian. We had highlighted Destin in that one, and they ended up winning that particular district. So good stuff there for Destin. And the 3A District 1 tournament, that was won by the South Walton Seahawks over a good Freeport team, 70-52 in that one. There's a lot of local stuff, but I try not to leave anybody out. 4A District 1 girls basketball tournament, also the Fort Walton Beach Vikings. They also beat Pensacola, a little closer than the boys, 40-34 in that particular matchup. And then we're all the way to the state championships, which is the region tournament, which goes down to the Final Four. On the Class A girls side of things, kind of ironic, Mosley will be playing Ponte Vedra. That is on the 13th. That's Friday at 7 p.m. That'll be in Ponte Vedra. So I'm guessing if you want to watch it, it'll be at 6 p.m. here in the Central Time. And then on the boys basketball state championships, it's also Mosley, the number 7 seed, playing Ponte Vedra in Ponte Vedra. That'll be on Saturday, the day after. So you got both Mosley teams, boys and girls basketball, in the state tournament as the number 7 seed in Region 1, both playing Ponte Vedra. Maybe they'll ride together and save some money on the bus there. So that kind of rounds out all your sports. All your local sports. Next up, we'll have baseball and softball getting underway here very, very shortly, if not already underway. But I'll pivot to that as soon as we get done with all the basketball stuff. All right, let's talk some Super Bowl 60. Assuming you had a chance to watch it.
Yeah, went over to the folks, had some grub and watched the game. Wasn't too eventful, right?
Wasn't really too eventful. I would say not really surprising either from my side of things. Obviously, some of the big stories, the Sam Darnold redemption story, for him to get drafted by the Jets, survive that organization, bounce around a little bit with the Panthers, goes over to the Niners for 1 year as the backup, and then goes to Minnesota, has a great season, but then on the last couple of games just kind of, I don't want to say collapses, but didn't have the best game. So a lot of people were kind of waiting for that to happen this year, but it never happened. The Seattle Seahawks were the first team in history to not commit a turnover in the playoffs and route to a Super Bowl winning. Pretty impressive stuff there. What do you think about Drake May? You think he was ready for that moment or not?
It's tough to say, was he ready for the moment, or is Seattle's defense just that good?
I think Seattle, in my opinion, I think Seattle's D is just that good.
That's another thing, and I wasn't going to get to, kind of take over there, but, when you're talking about Sam Darnold, playing a lot better than he typically play, well, he could pretty much play carefree, because if you throw a pick, you can have the ball back in about 3 plays typically, right? I mean, that helps just and it's funny because you know how sports works. You actually end up playing better, the freer that you play. And so the fact that he probably feels like, hey, if I do turn the ball over, my defense will get it right back.
Yep.
Allows him to play more free, which allows him to play better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's interesting, like, which chicken or the egg kind of idea.
Yeah. Well, and also Kenneth Walker just having a monster game too was huge for his.
Yeah, that's true.
Takes a little bit of the pressure off them.
Yeah.
But pretty impressive stuff there by the Seahawks. Just a really dominant postseason, and it feels good because the Niners were knocked out by the Seahawks, so they went on to win, which has happened to 7 out of our 8 times since 2014. We've been knocked out by the eventual champion. Some of those obviously were in the championship game against the stupid Chiefs, but cool stuff there for the Seahawks. Some of the betting statistics from the game. Did you guys do a Super Bowl squares board?
We didn't. We had Mark McClain has a little league team or whatever, and
it's a great way to raise money for your team as well.
And I actually, sorry, Mark, this is on air. He sent me a link to it, and I opened it, and then immediately got diverted my attention, and then it was not in my top of mind, right? Because I had already opened the text, and then by the time I realized it's too late.
Yep. Yeah, the game had already started.
Yeah.
We always go to one of our friends' house down the street, and I'm always the one that has to do I'm the one that volunteers to do the board. Because I used to do that at all the golf courses I've managed over the years, because you can do a Super Bowl board right there in the shop, and you can pay out in shop credit.
Oh, cool.
Which is cash, but called shop credit because, people get bent out of shape about that kind of stuff. Total amount wagered on Super Bowl 60 was a record high, approximately $1.76 billion.
Goodness.
That includes all types of bets, money line spreads, totals, and props across all the regulated sports books nationwide. There's a couple big-time individual bets that won or lost. Drake, everybody knows who Drake is, publicly lost $1 million bet on the New England Patriots. There's a lot of other large wagers, $2 million, $1 million, $725,000 that were placed before the game, with potential payouts in the millions depending on the outcomes. I had a small wager for the Seahawks -4.5 when the line immediately came out after the NFC and AFC championship game, because I actually figured the Seahawks were going to be more favored as time went on, but they stayed at 4.5 pretty much the entire way.
Congrats on your winnings.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't surprising, I guess.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah.
And then I had another small one on the under because that just seemed too easy to do. And then, of course, everybody knows Jim Mattress Mac. He owns the furniture stores there in Houston. He placed a $2 million bet on the New England Patriots to defeat the Seattle Seahawks. It was, at the time, it would have been 2-1 with a potential $4 million payout. But obviously, the Patriots did not win that game, and that would have had to been straight up as well. That wasn't with the spread. But $1.76 billion wagered on the Super Bowl, which is definitely one of those big-time events out there. I got to look real quick, see what's going on in the
curling.
Yep. Looks like Sweden is up 3-2. The U.S. got that end 3-point, but then Sweden got a point in the next end. So far, it's following that hammer, which is very common when you're in curling. But yeah, Sweden's up 3-2 there in the fifth end. U.S. got the hammer. So probably about 30 minutes to an hour left to go in that one. Wanted to ask you this. I know you're a former pro and college athlete, and I'm not picking on Alabama by any means.
Okay.
What did you think about the whole Bediako situation? The player that was he was a G League two-way contractor and came back to play for Alabama.
I don't. Like you were talking about retaining your eligibility to go play. Yeah, to me.
But he signed a professional two-way contract at that point.
Yeah, to me, I would probably advise against letting people do that.
And there was a judge that ruled that that it was the injunction or whatever they call it. They had an injunction, so he could play for Alabama. But the reason why I bring this up is because this morning there was a circuit court judge in Tuscaloosa that denied that injunction. So now it makes him ineligible to play for Bama. So I mean, they won, I think, 2 out of 3 games with him playing on the court.
Well,
so,
yeah.
I don't know if anything's gonna come of that, but we shall see. I just thought it was an interesting thing. It'd be like,
well, so here's the deal. I'm just making it relatable to some of the guys, which it's not like totally different, I guess you'd say. But you remember like Chris Winkie, right, for FSU. Yeah. You played like 4, 5, 6 years of professional baseball in the minor leagues, signed right out of high school, and then comes back. Florida State's 29-year-old quarterback. With a really good, he's a really good athlete. Yeah. And he's like
on the cover of one of the NCAAs. I remember that.
Yeah. And you're just like, I don't know, man. Here's, do you mind if I expound?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when you get into professional sports, that sort of age gap thing kind of disappears, right? There's guys in the big leagues that are 40, and there's guys in the big leagues that are 21. Yeah, but like when you're sort of going through the process of the, sort of the college process, I feel like it's constrained to like most of the people, your peers, are 18 to 22.
Yep.
And then if you get a guy, that this sort of one outlier that is like way older and more mature, and it can really tip the scales, in my opinion. I'm not saying that's wrong or right. Like in the big leagues or whatever, in the professional sports, it's a collective mix of all those people, right?
Yep.
As opposed to kind of maybe just having 1 or 2 outliers on the team that are like basically a coach on the field.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so me personally, probably for the college element, and then now with the NIL stuff, He's effectively going to make money again doing that. So I don't know. I just
absolutely
keep college, in my opinion. But that's me. Yeah.
If you get, I guess if you get a judge to get an injunction, then it's more on the judge than anything else at that point. So, I did want to mention, because I got to give a Coastal Carolina University shout out in there. I did want to mention the preseason NCAA Division I baseball rankings. I'll just go through the top 10. You got UCLA number 1, LSU number 2, Texas number 3, Mississippi State number 4, Georgia Tech number 5, Coastal Carolina number 6, Arkansas 7, Louisville 8, Auburn 9, TCU 10. Obviously, it goes on all the way down to the top 25, but several SEC schools in there again, like they always are. But I don't know if you remember that final series game where Kevin Shaw got kicked out of the game for arguing balls and strikes. So their opening series this weekend coming up, he'll be suspended for those first 2 games.
How bogus is that?
I'm still bitter about that.
And like you said, it's funny that you say that, and I kind of just circling back to some of the things that I was talking about with the Arnold game. It sounded like, some of those, time the officiating can get it like just spirals out of control on them.
Yep.
And they just continually can like make worse and worse and worse decisions. And some of these, like, ejections and things that have other season implications, to me, it's not right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think you're seeing a move towards this in the NFL too, as well. Or I'm sorry, even in college football. Sorry, not the NFL, in college football with the targeting, not impacting other games. Like find the guy or whatever you want to do, but don't impact. Because, some of these targeting calls can be kind of a little bit ridiculous. You know that. But then they're like, there's a meaningful, it's a playoff game. You know, the
And
first
you're
half, he's
suspended
suspended
for the first.
yeah,
I
it's
think
like
there was a guy in Miami that had to deal with that.
that's exactly right. And so, you know, you're just kind of going, you know, find the guy or whatever, but don't impact a whole nother, you know, outcome.
Well, especially now with as many playoff games as there are.
That's what they were saying. Yeah, like
it could really be detrimental. Real quick before we get going here, I just want to mention the USA is currently in 6th, tied for 6th in the medal count. The medal count is not your total medals. They base it off the gold medals. Right now they got 2 gold medals. One of those is Breezy Johnson for alpine skiing. They also have a bronze from the women's team combined in alpine skiing. Cross-country skiing, Ben Ogden has a silver medal. And cross-country skiing is tough. And then figure skating, we've got one of the best teams we've ever had in the Olympics. They got a gold medal in the team event. And then Alex Hall got a silver medal in the men's freestyle slopestyle skiing event. But right now, not surprising, Norway is leading the way with 6 gold medals as they are so good in all these winter events. I did know Belgium. I don't know if you fall into the speed skating stuff, but I forget her name. I should know her name at this point. She's actually dating Jake Paul.
the Jake Paul.
Yep.
Yeah. She won. She set a record.
Yeah, she broke her own Olympic record and then won a gold medal. That speed skating stuff is intense.
Get her on the test, man.
Right. Yep.
Get her tested. I'm joking, but you never know.
Yeah.
That's all. Anytime I'm seeing world records be shattered, I'm like,
especially breaking your own.
Yeah,
world
get
record.
them on the PED test. Nah, I'm just joking. I'm sounding like a hater, I guess.
I mean, that stuff is hard to do in general. A couple of shout outs to the UA boys and girls teams. The girls soccer team has a bye this Tuesday. We'll play Surfside on Thursday. Currently 4-0. I want to mention the boys basketball team because they had a huge upset win at home on Thursday against the defending county champion Jinx Hornets. So the boys basketball team at UA is now 3-1. They'll be on the road today against North Bay Haven. And I will not be having a show on Thursday. I'm attending the Navy base change of command ceremony. I've gotten to know the current commander, Commander Mosey, real well, and I want to go support him and then the new commander coming in over there at the Navy base. So our next show will be next Tuesday. Jay, I appreciate you coming in today. Always a pleasure talking to you. Again, one more time, rest in peace, Terrance Gore. We'll be praying for your family, your kids, everybody involved in your wonderful life that you touched so many people in. Again, Jay, appreciate your time. We'll be back next Tuesday. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.